How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to react to my projects from college. So this was in 2008, 2009, and 2010. I don't know why I said each year separately. I could have said 2008 to 2010, but that's fine. So I was going through the attic a couple of weeks ago and just kind of cleaning and organizing stuff, and I came across my college projects. These are things that I haven't looked at in years. And I label everything, and I remember when I put them away that they were all together in the same container. So I know that they're all there, or at least most of the projects that I actually worked on are actually in this container. Of course, it's not all of my school work that I worked on, but these are the projects that I worked on and turned into my professors. And I haven't looked at these in a long time, so let's take a look at them. And these are in no particular order. So what we're gonna look at here, I remember this. This is a little booklet that we put together, and here's the cover of it. And it has like a little brad right here, and it's designed to kind of go around that star. I haven't done anything like this since I did this, so it's a little bit more old school. But the whole idea of this was to kind of get an idea for binding and kind of, you know, bookmaking and stuff like that, even though it's very, very basic. It's put together using some kind of a paper. I don't remember exactly what kind of paper this is, but we did staple it together. It's kind of like a CD booklet, actually. So it was put together that way, and then it was different art pieces that we did, and I'm pretty sure that these are all ones that, yeah, these are all ones that we actually made in class. So they were just kind of like meant to be abstract pieces of art and everything. And then like I put a quote with each one of them. We don't have to go through all of those, but here's the abstract artwork. And this right here, this is just photo paper. So I just printed them off because I knew that it had a lot of detail in it, and I didn't want those details to get lost in just regular paper. So I used photo paper instead. And even though I haven't done anything like this type of artwork in a long time, I really enjoy it. This is marble painting, and I think this might be as well. So it was just really fun to put together this kind of stuff. And here's something very seasonally appropriate, very autumn type of vibe to it. So, but I really enjoyed this project because I liked all of the hands-on stuff. When I was in school, design school, I thought I knew everything about graphic design because I knew Photoshop, and I had known Photoshop for a long time. And I went in there not even knowing anything about the crazy huge world of typography. I remember having a type class and just thinking to myself, why do I need a whole class on fonts? Like, I know about fonts. What my knowledge of knowing about fonts was knowing how to find them in the list. I didn't know anything about the world of typography. So doing all of that, learning about typography, that's completely separate, but then also doing more hands-on stuff and doing things a little bit more of the old school way. And all of my professors were older. They were definitely from like the previous generation and everything, and they were seasoned veterans in the industry. So they knew what they were doing. They did pretty much everything by hand, but then they were also really embracing the future of the design world. And I really respected each and every one of them for that. They all had a wealth of knowledge, and they were really, really good, especially considering that I went to a community college to study graphic design. But at the time, I don't know if this is still true, at the time it was the #1 in the entire state. So I don't know if it's still true, but they definitely knew their stuff. So that was really cool. So here's something else that I put together and was very, very proud of. This was when I was freelancing, when I was still in college, and this was meant to be like an advertisement. So this is Designs by Jason Smith, and it's crazy to me that that I even did this, because like just design wise and everything, it's insane to me that this is something that I put out there. Because, you know, this isn't a logo or any kind of a branding tie-in or anything like that, but you know, it's just something to, you know, put out there. I was just trying to get started, you know, and you just kind of, you do what you can with the knowledge that you have at the time, and that's what I did. So All right, what else do we have here? These are a couple of things that are not related to design. Okay, this is not necessarily related to my school. In fact, this came a few years after I graduated, but I'm very, very proud of this. This was the first time that my work was ever printed in a magazine or any kind of a printed work. So this was Bohemian magazine, and I didn't do that front cover, so don't mistake that. But if we go here to, let's see if we can find it here. I think it's right before this page. Yeah, here it is. The editor, I think, is the one that contacted me about this. This was back when I was doing a lot of typographic stuff. So I did this. This right here is called The Perfect Saturday, and it's just a lineup of different Nickelodeon shows that were up in the 90s. And then they did this one right here, the primary colors of the 90s. And I was very, very proud of those even before I was contacted. I don't even remember where I put these. Maybe I put them, I don't even know. Like, I did have a website back then, but maybe I put them on DeviantArt. I really don't know where they found these. So, but they found them and they said, hey, can we put this in our magazine? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And at the time, it was an e-magazine, and they weren't really planning on doing actual printed copies. But I did ask them, I said, hey, can I get a copy of that? Because I really want to have a copy of that. And they were like, yeah, sure, we'll get you a copy. So that was really super cool to actually see my work in a, in a printed magazine, printed document, just whatever it was. So I was very, very happy to see that. This right here, we're going out of order here, so sorry about that. This right here was my very first ever freelance gig, I guess. It was a menu for a pizza place. And at the time, I remember telling people, don't tell my professors, but I did this entire thing in Photoshop. And I was very, very proud of it, actually. And the reason I chose to do the whole thing in Photoshop was because that's what I knew at the time. That's what I knew really, really well. I was still learning Illustrator, still learning InDesign and everything. And technically, yes, you're supposed to use InDesign for it. But I knew Photoshop so well at that time that I was like, you know what? This is paid, and I can do this much faster in Photoshop. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm going way back in my mind here. But now that I think about it, I don't think I was even using Photoshop. I think I was using Photo Impact Pro because I couldn't afford Photoshop at the time. That was before we had the whole Creative Cloud model. You had to buy the entire thing in a box. I know a lot of people now would prefer to have it that way. But it was something that, that I just kind of had to do at the time. And I think Photo Impact Pro was like $30 or something like that. You found it at like Office Max or Office Depot. But anyway, good times. And that was my very first ever paid freelance gig. And I charged $50 for it. That's crazy to me. Crazy. Okay. Another freelance one that I had was local Quiznos. I was actually working here at the time that I did this because I was in design school and also working 2 jobs, and I had just gotten married. So as you can imagine, I was busy quite a bit. So anyway, this was a door hanger menu that I designed, and I actually did this one in Illustrator. So I did this in Illustrator. Did the photo work was done in Photoshop, but all of the vector smart objects were done in Illustrator. And looking at this right here, this expires in February 28th of 2011. So it's been a while. Okay, next one up. This was from my Photoshop class, and it was for something called Naples K Condominiums, and it was just designed to be kind of like a print ad, and it was very just a really basic layout and everything. This was actually something that they gave us, and they said, they gave us the actual ad, and they said, recreate the ad exactly the way that it is. And they gave us all the assets and everything, but we had to do the arrangement and the layout. Like, we had to do all of this ourselves and figure out how to do all these little things, like these dots right here. And we had to do it a very specific way. So, and here I was trying to figure out, some other ways that I could do it and everything. And can you believe this? One of my design professors told us to use Brush Script, which is crazy to me. But that was kind of a fun little one right there. That's not college related, and neither is this. Sorry. Okay, this was one that I made for at the time my fiance. She's now my wife, and this was a card. It was like a birthday card that we made. It's really, really goofy. And if you can't read that, it says, "I have mathematical proof that you and I belong together." And check out all the stuff that I did here in Illustrator. I was so proud of all of this. It was using the blend tool. As soon as I found out about the blend tool, I became obsessed with it. So I used it a lot in design school. So did a lot of stuff with the blend tool. And then when you open it up, it says, now it's really simple, and it has this ridiculously complicated and maybe even impossible mathematical equation that's going on there. And then we had to design the back as well. And I think I just made up Dreamboat Expressions. Looking at this now, that logo is humongous. It definitely should have been smaller than that. And then we also had to provide the envelope that goes with it. So this right here says "Sail the Dreamboat," and that might even be Zapfino, the font, which is crazy because I would never use that now. But yeah, like you got to remember too, like this was the late 2000s, early 2010s that all of this was going on, and there were just like now. We have design trends. We had design trends back then as well. And a lot of the stuff that was happening back during that time was like a lot of, distressed and grungy type of fonts and everything. They had really kind of made a comeback around that time, or, design students were just using it because it looked cool. Just about everyone in my class wanted to do something having to do with album covers. Myself included, I wanted to do that as well. Here's that pizza place, and this was a magnet that I made after I designed that menu, so that was a fun little project there. This was something that I made. I don't know if this necessarily was for a college project or anything, but it was something that I wanted to try. I think I had gone to a concert and I wanted to do like a backstage pass type of design. I think I was just kind of playing around with it. I don't remember it being for a college project or anything. So there's a Hillary Duff Most Wanted Tour 2005 All Access Pass, and it's not too bad looking actually, and I put it in this little sleeve right here. I think that at some point I had like a lanyard that you would actually wear, so it actually looked official. So that was a fun one. Oh my goodness, this next one up is a magnificent collection, a magnificent collection of wondrous logos from other worlds. And gosh, I was so proud of this design. It's ridiculous. I can't believe it. I'm looking at this now and thinking to myself that, yeah, that was a good design choice. This is just like all over the place, no clear direction whatsoever. And also, if you are really good at seeking out really super granular things, this is so what's the word I'm looking for? So obscure. But we've got an O right here with a baseball in it and an O right here with the world in it. That's a subtle nod to Boy Meets World, which is crazy. But I do remember that. Okay, so let's see what's in here. I haven't seen any of this in a very long time. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that was something that I came up with. Ambigrams were very popular around this time, and I was trying to make one that, and I actually later on did. I made one that you could flip, entirely. You could rotate it, and it was exactly the same design when you rotated it. This one wasn't, obviously, but it's meant to look like a J, an L, and an S because those are my initials. So that was kind of the lead-in to this logo book there. Okay, we have Alternative Radio, and there is the logo for it. It's the whole thing. And gosh, it's crazy that I came up with that. Alternative Radio is a TV radio station playing only alternative rock music. So I'm guessing TV radio station, I guess kind of like MTV. So it was kind of like MTV, but they only played alternative rock music. And then we had to list here the font that we used in the logo itself, and then I put my snake logo down there at the bottom. But this was Black Oak Standard, and that's probably the last time I used that font. But it would be cool to redesign some of these logos, actually. If you want to see me do that, let me know down in the comments. Okay, next one up is 13 Modest Teen Clothing. I remember that, and I was very proud of that, actually. I did something I created those little circles right there and used the what was it, the symbol sprayer? It's something that I don't really use all that often, but it's something that I used for that to kind of spray over the 13 there. And I actually have the description right here in front of me. 13 is a modest yet cute line of clothing for teenage girls. Fonts used: Perpetua Titling MT and Cracked. Cracked was one of those fonts that we used at the time in design school, even though our design professors told us not to use it. So it's hilarious to me. Okay, what else? We've got Sunny Days Preschool and Daycare. And this is Sunny Days Preschool and Daycare takes care of children during work days. Fonts used: Handwriting Dakota and Arial Rounded MT Bold. I used Arial in a logo design book in design school. That's hysterical. But yeah, I was kind of proud of this. You know, I was like, ooh, check it out. I made a sun with some sunglasses and everything. And yeah, I still love sunglasses. I wear sunglasses all the time. But, you know, you look back on this and you think to yourself, like, obviously I wouldn't do that now. But, you know, everybody kind of starts from the same place. Everybody starts off learning. So, okay, here's something that is going to date me quite a bit. mp3planet.com. But it says here, mp3planet.com is an MP3 website that charges 59 cents per song. That's like, even like back then, that would have been considered cheap. So fonts used Hautenschweiler, I guess that's how you pronounce that. I probably haven't used that font since I did this logo, but that's hysterical to me that I made an MP3. I mean, a lot of my stuff, as you can see, even back then, was very music related, very music driven. So around this time, like, you know, my sources of inspiration were music, shows from Nickelodeon, things from my childhood, things like that. I love designing from things like that. So next one up is Big Dog Records, and yes, that is Pork Chop from Doug. And this says Big Dog Records is a rap record company. Fonts used: Rockwell Extra Bold, Bradley Hand. Bradley Hand. I used Bradley Hand in a logo design book in design school. That's just crazy to me. And I don't even know. Let's see, can you see that? Yeah, I don't even know how I made this little whatever that is right there, but it's completely unnecessary. It definitely did not need to be there. Our design professors really went easy on us back during that time, and they probably go easy on beginners to a certain extent, but you know, like, obviously there are a lot of things that you've got to learn when you are first designing logos and, you know, learning how to put these things together and everything. And, you know, like, projects like this is where you learn a lot of stuff. Mermaid Nautical Suppliers. That is Sarah Paxton from the movie Aquamarine. I, at the time, thought that would be a fantastic logo. Just crazy. But I was into this movie because of my niece at the time. She was really into this. We watched it quite a bit during that time period. So Mermaid Nautical Supplies is a top-notch nautical/boating supplier. Top-notch. They sell only premium products. As you can tell from the logo, it's a premium logo. Fonts used: Academy Engraved LET Plain 1.0 and Blair Medium ITC Medium. So hysterical. I haven't seen these in so long. Okay, Squeaky Clean Comedy Club welcomes only curse-free fun. Fonts used: Tahoma and Trebuchet. I used Tahoma and Trebuchet in a logo design book in design school. How many times have I said that about a font? It's like, I can't believe I used these fonts when I was in design school learning about all of this. But full disclaimer though, and I was fully planning on mentioning this at some point in the video, so I might as well say it now. There was no point in my entire time at design school where we ever learned about Swiss design. Never. And I made it to every class. I never missed a single class. And so, like, you know, so obviously, you know, it wasn't brought up on a day I wasn't there. We never learned about Swiss design at all, which is insane to me. So, okay, next one up, Winslow Fine Art Gallery. I actually do like this one. I like the, you know, the idea behind it. It's probably not the the best execution, but the concept is cool. It's got those W's right there. I don't know if necessarily this is necessary. I mean, you could just do the abstract shapes right there and have the W. I would definitely go in and change I would remove the strokes probably from right there. But I do like the overall concept. This might be a fun one to redesign. So Winslow Fine Art Gallery is a large exhibitor of fine arts from around the world. Fonts used: Imprint MT Shadow and Bickham Script Pro. The fonts themselves, I don't think that they're necessarily a problem. I'd probably go with something else entirely. You know, you also have to remember during this time, something like this would have a script font, and we hadn't really headed in the direction where everything that's being used now is a sans serif type. And if you see any kind of a script font, most of the time it's custom made. Okay. Next one up is Lee Sporting Goods. This is actually one that I'm still pretty proud of, especially when I look at it now. The lines in here form a uppercase L, which, I mean, looking at this, I'm like, you see that, don't you? It's an uppercase L that is forming the lines on this basketball. And, you know, even though it is a little bit abstract and not necessarily geometrically correct for a basketball, I still think it's a pretty cool concept. So Lee Sporting Goods is a sporting goods company. There you go. That was my description. Fonts used: Franklin Gothic medium, and then it says L is hand-drawn, which means mouse-drawn. I drew it with my mouse. So, but I was very proud of that one because I stuck it toward the end of the book. Okay, next one up is Hain Smart, and that is natural health foods. So yeah, Hain Smart is a name brand specializing in health foods. Fonts used: Petalglyph, Palatino, and Stone Sands ITC Bold. Yes, I did use 3 fonts here. Yes, I did. So it's actually not too bad when you look at it. You got that H right there, and in the middle, it kind of looks like a leaf. And this right here is like a little abstract thing, you know, like that's meant to look like leaves. I don't think that overall it's necessarily terrible. It might be a fun one to redesign. The name Hanes was actually my wife's maiden name, so that's where Hanes came from. Okay, next one up is Pyramid Films. And, you know, when I look at this now, I actually think to myself, like, a lot of the film companies and everything, their logos still even today look a lot like this because they don't really have to worry about their logo being seen by the public anywhere else other than like before a movie. So they have a little bit more leeway, you know, like when it comes to things like that, they can give a little bit more detail there. So this says Pyramid Films is an independent film distributor. Fonts used: Hoffler text. So Hoffler text is something that I use sometimes. It kind of depends on what I'm working on, but if I'm working on a particular brand that uses that, then obviously I'll use that. Sammy's Tropical Bar and Restaurant. This is from a friend of mine. When I was in a design school, her name was Sammy. Everyone called her Sammy. So Sammy's Tropical Bar and Restaurant is located in Key West, Florida. Fonts used: Jazz, LET plain, and Britannic bold. I mean, it's not the worst in the world. I mean, you've got the palm tree, you've got the sand dune right here. And then I would say that the font is probably appropriate for what this is, you know, but it would probably be fun to kind of redo this bottom part right here. But yeah, I think it's fine for what it is. It's not something that I'm looking at and going, oh, I can't believe I did that. This one right here, Stride Athletic Stores. I still say, I still kind of maintain that this is a timeless design. Let me take a look at it. So yeah, you've got the stride, and it's kind of like, you know, showing it in motion right there, and it's got that that yellow circle behind there, I guess representing the sun. But it says Stride Athletic Stores is a chain of athletic suppliers. Fonts used: Hoffler text and Helvetica New. I actually used Helvetica in a design book, so that's pretty cool. And I must have been proud of that one because it is toward the end. And then here is Sunflower Entertainment Group. Let's see, Sunflower Entertainment Group books concerts and various events. We need you now more than ever, Sunflower. We need you. Like, I guess if it books concerts and events, it's probably not a ticket handler, which is the first thing that I thought of because Ticketmaster, oh geez. Okay, fonts used Palatino and Perpetua. So one thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm sorry that I forgot to mention it until now, but every single page has this little JLS right here, and it's a different color for each one. And I'm not sure where the colors came from because normally I would kind of use it as a complement to whatever's going on right here, and it's not necessarily tying in with that design, so I don't really know where it's coming from. I do really like even though obviously this design is not the best that it could be, but one thing that I do like is how the O perfectly lines up right there with where the O should be. That's one thing that I've always thought I was really strong in terms of designing, is like kerning in the exact placement of letters. So I've always been I've always thought that I was particularly good at that. So and it had that little swoosh right there, which a lot of companies during that time. Okay, my battery camera died on me, but we are back up and running. Okay, so let's move on from Sunflower Entertainment Group, and let's go to, goodness, how many logos are in here? There's a lot. So this is California Dreams Hair Salon, and that is actually my wife right there. At the time, she was my fiance, and that was a picture that that she took of herself, and I thought it was a really cool picture. So I did a lot of stuff with that one, including bringing it into Illustrator and doing live trace on it. So that was pretty fun. California Dreams Hair Salon is an upscale beauty salon. Fonts used Edwardian script, Footlight MT Light, and Franklin Gothic book. So it's something that obviously it looks kind of more like an ad than a logo. And I think I remember my design professor saying that, you know, it needs to be a little bit more, you know, logo-ish instead of, you know, like all of these different elements that are all working together. They're not really balancing that well. And I do agree with that. All right, next up is the very first project that I ever did for design school, and it is a alphabet book. Sorry, I should have said an alphabet book. An alphabet book right here where we focus on an individual letter and we do something unique and special with it. And I haven't seen this in a very long time, so I have no idea what to expect when I open this book. But I was so proud of this cover right here. So we've got the A through Z, and the lightning bolt is going right through the N right there because, I'm sorry, the O. It's going right through the O right there because I figured out that that is roughly the halfway point of the alphabet. So I wanted it to be right there in the center, and it's kind of like, you know, striking this orb right here. I was so proud of that. And you can see the cities and the clouds and everything like that. It's just, it's awesome. Okay, so, all right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got A to Z. Check that out. That is, that's a mess. So we've got this A right here that's made up of apples, this ridiculously long in dash, which is way too long, and then this Z right here, which is made up of stars on the inside and some dude up here sleeping, and you've got the moon up here. There's just, it's like way over conceptualized. And then the background, I don't know what that background is. I'm so sorry. I would like to apologize to all of my design professors for putting up with me during this time. Okay, there's no commentary on any of these, so lucky me. I get to give commentary, I guess. Here is the letter A, made up of arrows. Get it? A for arrows. So you got all that right there. The three arrows right there that are making up the A, and then you've got the arrows kind of going on in the background. Let's see. Okay, B. B is for bubbles, and we've got a lot of bubbles going on right here. So, oh boy. And then a C for calculator. There's C's all over the calculator, so there you go. I can't believe how proud I was of this at the time. Yeah, D for diamonds. Yeah, they're all made up of diamonds. As you can see, I kind of had a pattern going on here where I was making up the letter out of the items that they were representing for the letter. E, electricity. So that makes perfect sense right there. Let's see what else we got. I definitely want to know which ones are your favorites. F as a flower, of course. We've got the mask of the flowers inside of the F, and then of course we have to overdo everything. So we have flowers going on in the background. G, we've got your standard Photoshop, your Photoshop effects going on. G for gold. So we've got the emboss going on for gold and all of that fun stuff. Honey, we've got a whole bunch of H's that are swimming in this little batch of honey right here. I don't even know if I should show you this next one. I for ice. I think that we're done. I just think that we're done. So we've got I for ice right here, and it's the letter I, frozen in the sky with clouds in the background. Frozen clouds. Oh boy, there's a reason this is in the attic. Okay, J for jeans. Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. K for kaleidoscope. I just grabbed an image of a kaleidoscope and put a K in there. And then if you look closely right here, sorry for the lighting, but we've got like a gestalt, or a gestalt, however you pronounce it, I don't know. But a gestalt of those Ks right there. And yeah, I think that we're done. I think we're done looking at all of this. This is embarrassing. Okay, we have an L for light. And I haven't done the actual calculations on this, but I don't know if the L is actually creating the light that it should for the shaping and everything. But we've got the L for light. We've got an M for music. I can't believe I did this. But yeah, the M, it's just the letter M with some music notes and different music symbols and stuff like that, with this ridiculous thing of light that that came with Photo Impact. Keep in mind, this was not Photoshop. This was Photo Impact. All right, the letter N made up entirely of nickels, because that makes perfect sense. And then we have O, an oil spill, and the oil spill is creating those O's right there. Fun stuff. You can tell I was very, very creative. Okay, now this one I was very proud of, and I was actually really hoping that my design professors would be just as proud of me, but they weren't as impressed as I thought they should have been. But we've got the letter P right here, and it's a pool, and I actually photoshopped this. This was not the shape of this pool. I photoshopped it into a P. And everyone immediately made the joke, P for pool, peeing in the pool. There you go. So that's fun. Okay, Q is for quiet right here. So we've got a zipper made up right here going over the mouth, and then in the background is a library. So perfect conceptual art there. The letter R right here is rip. So there's that. It's like, you know, cardboard or paper ripping. So excellent work. S is for shatter. So everything is shattering right here. I think that I was using some kind of a blending mode or Photo Impact's version of a blending mode to make it look like the S was also shattering, but I definitely could have done more work into making the S look like it was actually shattering. So, and I think that my professors even said something like that. Okay, T, we've got tiles right here. Not the worst idea, but also not the best. Okay, U is an upside down umbrella, which I was very proud of. So taking the umbrella, turning it upside down, and then adding a U right here, which is just dumb. It's just dumb. Okay, V, we've got vines. And I actually did, I did something with this. I think I actually referenced some other type of photo or something like that and created the V from that. I probably used the clone stamp tool or something that was close to that. W is for water or wet. And you can see right here, we've got droplets that are forming a puddle right here. And the W right here obviously has those colors of water inside. And let's see what else. Okay, this was actually a pretty simple one. I don't think it's that bad, but X is for xylophone, and it's just two xylophones that are crossing each other to form an X. I think it might be the most clever in here, if that even says anything. So there's that. Y is for Yellow Jackets. So that was a fun one. So very similar to the Vine one that I did, where I just kind of used a clone stamp to make that Y right there. And I remember when people were looking at this, they were kind of freaked out by it because because when you look at it in person, it really does look like there's Yellow Jackets just right there on the page. So it is kind of freaky. All right, and then the last one is Z for Zigzag. I know you are blown away, aren't you? All right. All letters designed by me, all designs by me, except for the calculator in C, flowers in F, honey in H. We don't have to go through this entire list, but clearly not all designs were by me. So that's pretty crazy. I look back on stuff like this and I think to myself, wow, I can't believe what I did. But, you know, this is actually a perfect example of saying that we all come from the same spot. We all start from the beginning, and we're all just learning. You know, it's an ongoing journey. It's an ongoing process, and you're just gonna learn things, and you're gonna figure out things about yourself that you didn't know that you knew, and you know, that's just part of it. All right, the last thing that we're going to be looking at here is postcards. So what we did here. Let me get some lighting. Actually, let me close my blinds real quick. We're getting the glare right there. Okay, I think that's a lot better. Those blinds were actually doing more harm than good. So what we did here was a series of postcards over like a 2-month period or something like that, where we would design a postcard and we actually had to send it through the mail to our design professor for some reason. Maybe because it was a postcard. But anyway, what we did was we took all of those postcards and we assembled them into a book. And for some strange reason, I chose a Roman Empire theme to house these postcards. Like, I don't know, I was a little all over the place. At the time, I was very fascinated about learning about ancient Rome, probably because I was in an art history class. But we did a series of postcards. And I did a table of contents right here, and each one of these had its own theme. So we did a theme based on whatever the professor assigned to us. The first one here was happy place. What is your happy place? And at the time, like I said earlier, I was really into like, you know, nostalgia and things from my childhood and things like that. So I did this really awesome combination of all these different symbols and different things from 90s commercials, 90s TV shows, Nickelodeon stuff, just a hodgepodge of different designs. And I look back on it now and I think to myself, wow, I could have done a lot better. But, you know, the concept is there, but the execution, not so much. Okay, the next one up was decades, and we got to choose whatever decade that we wanted to design for. So I chose the Roaring 20s. And I did this, I found this image of this woman right over here, did like an image trace right here, did some typographic work, and did like this kind of spotlight type of thing right here. I don't really do anything like this anymore, but it was something that, you know, I was like, oh, let's try to do something that's like Roaring 20s and like looking at the Art Deco style of the typography that was around at that time and trying to do something like that. All right, next up is a music postcard, and it was kind of like just in general, you know, like just, you know, the theme was music. So I did this thing right here, let all the heavens hear your music. Is that what it says? Yeah, let all the heavens hear your music. So just a guy playing a saxophone, and we've got like a piano right here. And then the music notes have wings right there. I really don't know what I was doing at the time. I was just like learning. I was just taking a lot of the stuff that I knew that I was learning in Illustrator and just combining it, throwing it together, and just seeing what stuck. And obviously none of it stuck. Okay, next one up is nightmares. Everyone kind of had their own cool interpretation of this, but mine was Microsoft buys out Apple. Which is crazy because like at the time, this was during a time where the Mac versus PC wars were going on, like the commercials were happening and everything, and you were either a Mac or you were a PC. There was no in between. And like, you know, a designer's nightmare would have been that Microsoft buys Apple. So there's a mushroom cloud right there, and it says an unfortunate end. And I wanted to do like this crazy edging right here on the newspaper to kind of signify that you were inside of a nightmare. So very special times. Okay, the next one up was nature. So I did this medley trail hikers club. And Medley was actually the maiden last name of my stepmother, so that's where that came from. And I actually came up with that M right there, and I thought that that was a pretty cool logo. And even looking back on it now, I still think it's a pretty cool logo. But we've got some information here. Invites you to join for fall 2009. Looks like we've got some damage right here. So anyway, next one up is Bubbles. For some strange reason, she assigned Bubbles as the topic, so I made Willy Wonka's famous fizzy lifting drinks, and I definitely could have done better with this. But you know, but it says here still to power, still testing, coming soon. That should have said still too powerful. Can't believe I actually got away with that, but I don't have any memory of my design professor saying anything about the wording choice there. Ancient art. This was a photo that I found of King Tut, and then just did like a little thing right here. Yes, I actually used papyrus down here. Keep in mind, this was still kind of an early stage in my design at design school. So 18th Dynasty, King Tut, Tutankhamun. Is that how you pronounce it? I think it is. Superheroes. At the time, I was really into Superman and Supergirl, and also this was kind of during a time where everyone was still very patriotic and very nostalgic. Well, not really nostalgic, but remembering 9/11. So I did a blending of these two right here. Supergirl remembering 9/11, crying and saying, "I will never forget." And the S right there it says September 11th, 2001. Just pretty crazy. I don't know if I would, I don't think I would make this today. Okay, sports. This was, so this was a big night in Nashville. This was the Predators versus the Red Wings, and it was a night where the Predators beat very badly. They beat the Red Wings very badly. It was 8-0, and it was quite a game. And it says here, "Tonight we made history." And I remember that from some kind of a sports article. Anyway, it was a really awesome game. Video games. Super Mario 3, in my opinion, the greatest video game of all time. And I actually, let's see here. So I found the background right here, but I actually did the trace of Mario right there in Illustrator. I did the tracing of that in Mario along with the 3 right there. All right, next one up was Elements, and this was a picture I took of my now wife, fiance at the time. And it was just elements, and this was kind of meant to represent fire. So that's kind of what I did. I guess it was kind of lazy, but, you know, still kind of cool at the same time. All right, and the last one up was choice. So I decided to do something. At the time, I was learning a lot about American history. So I designed this Betsy Ross thing right here. So the photo was somebody dressed up as her, but then the typography was all done by me right there. And wasn't anything special necessarily. It was just like a Stars and Stripes type of font that I used for that. And then I had a page in here, all postcards designed by me, which they were. And then right here in Roman numerals was 2009. So, you know, to complete the theme of the book. And then the very last page right here on the back, JLS Graphics. Still playing around with that snake design. So, pretty crazy stuff. Okay. All right, there's a few more things here that were just kind of at the bottom that I completely forgot about. One of them was a Tennessee Titans ad, very similar to the Naples K condominium earlier, where they just gave us a layout to copy. So I did that. All right, so for any fans of the Adventures of Pete and Pete, we have try the Orange Lazarus at the Slush Shack at the Munson Field Slush Shack right here. That was pretty, man, try to say that 10 times fast. Slush Shack. I went in and actually got like a snapshot of the logo itself and then just kind of recreated it in Illustrator. All right, this was actually part of my final project. It was something we had to come up with where we did an entire design campaign on and came up with brand identity, logo design package. The professor that I had in this class was actually the best one that I had the whole time, and I only had her for this one class. But it was really cool. So I came up with Sparrow Resorts. I don't know what happened to any of my stuff with Sparrow Resorts. It's possible that the professor kept it. I don't remember. Let's see what else we have here. Oh yeah, so this was a couple of different ones that we did for. We actually worked with photographers on this. This was a retro delicious ad for Pepsi and Mountain Dew. At the time, Pepsi and Mountain Dew actually put out these retro bottles, and so we worked with the photography section of the design school, and we collaborated on this. So it was a really fun project, and I really enjoyed that one actually. And then the last one right here was a Gap back to school ad, and I was actually pretty proud of this as well. I found the photo of the model from their website, did this back to school design. This background right here is actually something that I found. It was a photo that I took. It was like a kids gallery, like a kids art gallery, and I went up and took a up close shot of it, and then I superimposed the model onto the background. And if you look really closely right here in this area, there wasn't a floor for her to stand on, so I actually created like a little floor. So there's a line going across right there, and then the artwork is extending here, and you've got like this perspective going on. This was done when I was a little bit later on in design school, so I had a much more, like, a better understanding of all of that type of stuff that you could do in Photoshop and Illustrator. All right, well, that is everything that I have. If I find anything else, I'll definitely make sure to make a follow-up video. But it was fun looking through all this stuff. It's been a long time. If you're in design school now, just remember that the things that you're learning will definitely come into play when you are, designing in the future. Whatever it is that you're designing for, whether you're going to freelance, work for a company, whatever it is that you are learning right now, you will look back on it and think to yourself, wow, I can't believe I did XYZ, whatever it was. But you will see the value in where you started versus where you are now. So I definitely wanted to give some encouragement, and that's kind of the idea of this video, was to show you where I came from, and now you can kind of see where I am now. I'm doing, things that are very different from the things that I was doing in design school, but it was all really, it was all very valuable to learn about all of that stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed looking at this with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, informative, valuable in any way, please give the video a like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.